What we have here is a 2010 Porsche 911 Sport Classic. It is one of the most unique Porsches that has been made in the last 20 years. Not for what it is, but because of how many, or rather how few, were ever produced. You see, this is one of only 250 versions of this car that were ever made by Porsche. So today we're going to take a look over the 911 Sport Classic, look at some of its features and intricacies, and then I'm going to give you my recommendation on my final thoughts on whether you should consider buying one. Before we get started, if you live in Bangkok and you have a special car that you would like to see featured in one of our episodes, please send us an email to info@carsociety.tv. You'll find the details in the description below. And if you're enjoying watching this channel, please consider subscribing. This is a 2010 Porsche 911 Sport Classic, one of only 250 cars Porsche ever produced in the 997 series, as a throwback to the original 911 Carrera R.S. 2.7 from 1973. You see, in the hearts and minds of most Porsche 911 drivers, the Carrera R.S. is the very epitome of what a 911 is supposed to be, a specialized race car for the road. Now, Porsche could have gone a bit bonkers mad with the 911 Sport Classic. They could have based the car on the 997 Turbo or the GT3 or even the GT2 RS, but then it wouldn't be much of a throwback to the golden age of motorsport. No. It had to be a naturally aspirated 6-cylinder engine like the RS. So what they decided to do instead was take the best-selling 911 Carrera S of the time and make some adjustments. The 3.8-litre flat six in the Sport Classic produces 408 brake horsepower and 420 Nm of torque, which means 0 to 60 in just 4.6 seconds and onto a top speed of 187 miles an hour. While that's only mildly increased over the standard Carrera S, the added power comes from an upgraded resonance intake manifold and sports exhaust. All vehicles are only offered in a 6-speed manual transmission too, giving it that true classic sports car feel. Now, unlike most other Porsche models where the colors and exterior combinations with interior can almost seem endless, the 911 Sport Classic was only ever available in this one color, and it is aptly named Sport Classic Grey, and in the interior it has a brown leather trim. It seems like kind of an odd color combination, but it actually works together quite well. There are also a number of design elements that Porsche has integrated into the design of the Sport Classic, reminiscent of the original RS. The most obvious of these design tweaks, in the form of the ducktail spoiler, helps to increase airflow to the engine and improves rear downforce, but at the same time gives the car that iconic RS look. The next most notable exterior feature of this car being the 19-inch Fuchs wheels, seen on many a classic Porsche from the 1960s and 70s, finished on this car in nice black over silver chrome deep dish rim. On the body, the Sport Classic gets this unique sport design front apron and front spoiler, and while it's very hard to see on camera, the roof is shaped in this double dome, something which hasn't been seen on a Porsche since the Carrera GT. The interior, as I mentioned before, is finished in this brown cross-stitch leather, and it stretches as far as the eye can see. Now, it is broken up a little bit by the interior mesh silver, and it does finish it off a little better than having just the single color. Brown leather, of course, being all the rage in the 1970 model 911s. Aside from the color, the interior is very much like a normal Carrera S, and unlike hard and fast track day specials, the 911 Sport Classic still has its rear seats, its door handles, appropriate storage, the Porsche communication management system, aka phone and infotainment, all of which means it's still luxurious and easy to live with day to day. Now, in terms of options on the Sport Classic, there were a few, and the previous owner of this car ticked almost every box available at the time of ordering. It has PASM Sport suspension, a Xenon Plus light system, the Sport Chrono package, it has the Power Pack, a short shifter, and Porsche's ceramic composite braking system. If you happen to be in the market for a low mileage example of one of these, this particular car has traveled only 14,000 kilometers, not 40. 2014. Put that all together then along with the options and extras, and you have one of the best examples available for sale worldwide. Really then, there's a lot to love about the 911 Sport Classic. I think the only thing I really have a problem with is underneath all of the design changes and not so subtle improvements, it's still a 911 Carrera S. Of course, it's not a slow car by any means, and although the intricate details and design elements do make it look very cool, that's not really enough of a reason to buy this car, especially when you consider the ticket to entry. You see, a standard Carrera S of the same year, good kilometers, similar options, would generally go for around the 5 million baht mark. Now the 911 Sport Classic, as you see it here, is no less than 20.5 million baht by comparison. You see, the previous owner of this vehicle paid almost 14 million baht for it 7 years ago, which was a lot even at the time. But today, the car has increased in price by as much as 70%. Now that's a hell of a return on investment in such a period of time from a car. The same will never be said by any owner of a standard 911 Carrera S, where over the same time period, values are more likely to be 50% down in price. Now, will the prices of the 911 Sport Classic continue to appreciate the way that they already have? Perhaps. Buying cars as an investment can be a little bit tricky, but very few modern cars today have the same level of exclusivity of a 911 Sport Classic. So then, should you consider buying a Porsche 911 Sport Classic, if you can find one? In a word, yes. If you are looking for an incredibly rare, unique example of a collectible car, then this is it. The Porsche 911 Sport Classic then is everything that makes a proper 911 great. It's a flat six, naturally aspirated, 6-speed manual, rear-wheel drive that looks fantastic, and above all else, owning this car means that you are part of a very exclusive club of only 249 other members worldwide. And that, my friends, should be reason enough. Hey, thanks for watching this episode of CARSociety. We're always looking for feedback and ways that we can improve this channel, so if you have anything to tell us, please leave a comment below. A big thank you for this week's episode goes to 911 Assistant for their hospitality and ongoing support for our show. If you are in Thailand, you are in the market for a used Porsche where only the best quality car will do, be sure to check out 911 Assistant. We're going to leave a link to their website in the description below. I truly hope you've enjoyed this video. If you'd like to see more just like this one, make sure you subscribe and be sure to click the little notification bell so that we can notify you every time we release a new video. My name is Brett Andrew Simmons. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next episode of CARSociety.